just so I can operate effectively. Because I think it crystallizes your mind. It makes you focus, and you make good decisions. So if you're kind of in this like taking handouts mode, or you're kind of like still depending on parents for kind of that support system, my suggestion is maybe sever that and really put yourself up against it, because that's when sort of your true self will come out, and the universe will respond to that. But I don't know if that answered your question, Michael, but that's kind of where my mind went.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think, do you think it's the money that creates the magnetism, or do you think it was your attitude about what you were building and your conviction that kind of helped you create kind of a critical mass?
Definitely the power of belief, right? I think that's even the name of a book. I haven't read it, but Glenn's a big fan of that kind of stuff, and he was a kind of an early manifester in my life. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of different good coaches over the years in basketball, some not so good. But I also learned from them, more learn what not to do. But, just having a lot of good coaches and mentors. And you asked about, like, how do you pick those teams, or how do you pick those mentors? And, you don't need, like, a coach for 20 years always, right? I mean, you can find mentorship in this clubhouse conversation, right? If you just pick one phrase, or, you can get coached all day long from a variety of different sources if you're tuned in enough. But the real key is you got to implement it. Because, Glenn would say things like this. He'd say, if we just implemented 25% of what we already know we should be doing, we'd be more successful beyond our wildest dreams. So think about that for a second. If you just implemented 25% of what you already know you should be doing, so a quarter, not all of it, a quarter of what you already know you should be doing, you'd be more successful than you could ever imagine. So really, who's responsible for your success? Is it the team members? Or is it you putting things into action? We all have these, and there's another great phrase. It's I think it's Emerson, or he said, what we often recognize as genius are our own thoughts unacted upon. So you see somebody and they have this great invention, you're like, that guy's a genius. But what you're really saying is, I thought of that. I should have done it. I should have done it, right? I actually invented WhatsApp, right? I just never did anything about it, but I had that idea, right? So, it's like, well, so I really boil it down to this. I think there's really I call it the two I's: intention and implementation. Set your intention, right? Goal setting is a great example. And somebody mentioned in the first hour, sort of writing down goals versus keeping them in your head. There's so much power in the act of writing things down. It actually triggers your reticular activation system. It'll manifest in your life in a bigger, faster way. I do this every year with my wife. I go back and I look at all the goals we've set. Glenn actually made me set goals for business. And I said, okay, what should I do? And he said, well, set health goals, set fun goals, set family goals. And I was like, whoa, this is a business plan. What are you talking about, fun goals? And he's like, no, it's all part of the puzzle. You gotta have goals for all of it. And I didn't always hit them that first year, or maybe even that second year. But best believe, looking back all the way to 2005, 2006, we've hit every single goal we've set. It used to be, I want to have $10,000 in savings. And then it was, I want to have $100,000. And then like last year we were setting goals. And I'm like, I don't know, let's own 10 properties. Let's go on 5 cruises, let's, whatever. And we're getting that, right? So it's like, and it's funny because I remember Tony Geary once said, like, so at some level you reach a point where it just becomes finding better goals, and like that becomes the goal is finding better goals.
And Brian, you said something about Tony Geary that's so funny. Haas Pratt, the author of The Listing Boss, and another one of our business partners who I work with every day very closely, he took me to Tony Geary's Success Institute a couple of weeks ago in Dallas. And I got smarter just walking through that place. And because there's intention set in every book. How many books has he written? 100, 200? I don't even know. It's insane. But talking to and listening to high level people. We were in a room and that's one of the many times that I felt like I'm not the smartest person in the room. I mean, I feel like that all the time. I'm not trying to say that, but like these people were, they were so high level, but I walked out of there, better for it. And so, I think one of the things that Michael was talking about is like, people out there, they're in the audience, they're thinking, man, I'm just so uninspired. And, and I feel so blessed. I get to work with you every day. Like, you've got 40,000 people, but I can call you and I'll have an answer in 3 seconds about what I need. And so, how does people sitting in the audience right now, how do you go out besides being on Clubhouse 24/7? How do you find people that inspire you? I mean, I can find people that inspire me at the grocery store sometimes, just sitting and having a conversation in the aisle. When I see their entire basket is full of healthy foods, and I'm like, wow, I've got 19 lean cuisines in my basket, and I'm like, what are you going to do with all those fresh vegetables? And and then they start to tell me. And so I think success, and I want you to hit on this, but I think success, a big part of it, and being inspired is the number one thing, and I'm going to put this in my next book, it's about curiosity. So will you talk to us about being curious? Because I think that's where it starts. And I think in a world that we live in, that where we're a little down right now, and you can't turn on the television and some of the other stuff without just completely being depressed, how do we reignite being curious? Because I think curious is what sparks some of the greatest conversations. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, curiosity, observing, being a naturist, right? They're kind of all the same thing. It's just like being tuned into the moment and following that intuition. I'm actually cultivating a concept of sort of like strategic decision, or not strategic decision making, intuitive decision making, right? It's like this idea. So like we all have these little ideas, and then we don't do anything about it. Or you go to do something and you see 20 text messages and you start texting your mom and you're like, oh shoot, what was I just about to do? And so I've really tried to train my mind to like act on those thoughts, because I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm rarely the smartest guy. I played college basketball. I was a philosophy major. I took ceramics my senior year of college. But I've trained myself to like act on those little thoughts, right? Like, oh, I should call Lisa. I have a friend I want to introduce her to. Oh, I'll do it later. And you'll never do it later, right? And again, it's setting your intention. But here's the real secret, right? You guys, and by the way, this is from The Secret. And everyone's always like, what's the secret? What's the secret? The secret is thoughts become things. So whatever you think about, and by the way, thoughts become things. 10x it when you speak the word out loud. And that works for positive and negative. So, every thought you have literally carves a groove into your brain tissue. And so like Wim Hof talks about downtrodden neurological pathways. So imagine this, imagine your brain is like a mountaintop, and imagine the brain tissue is like 20 feet of the freshest powdered snow you could ever imagine. Okay, so 20 feet of fresh powdered snow on top of this pristine mountaintop, right? And every thought you have is clomping through that that snow in muddy boots. So imagine if you keep having the same thought over and over and over. You just, I'm no good, and you walk over the path. I'm not good enough. I'm not like a Lisa Copeland. Talk like Lisa can. Oh, I could never do what Glenn Lundy did, even though they don't know Glenn Lundy was homeless and struggling, and they look at Glenn now on the cover of Forbes and they're like, I could never do what Glenn could do. Now, and imagine if you keep saying that same, or in your mind, you keep thinking that same thought over and over. I'm not healthy. I'm overweight, right? I'm a lousy parent, right? And you just keep. What do you after 5 years, after 10 years of walking over that same path? And remember, 20 feet, right? What are you standing in now, Lisa? You're not standing on top of the snow. What are you standing in?
Yeah, you're standing in the slush. You're standing in the dirty, wet snow.
Standing at the bottom of a 20-foot icy crevasse with muddy, slippery walls that you can't escape. And you're wondering, why am I in the bottom of this dark, stinky, rotten pit? Okay? So how do you reset? And that's literally what's happening in your brain tissue. Okay, so now imagine if that's happening with every thought, 10x it if you're saying it out loud. So if you're actually uttering these words, the word abracadabra, you know what abracadabra means? It means your magic wand. Speak your words into existence. In the beginning of the Bible, it was the word. The word, whatever you say, becomes reality. Now, I'm gonna, but I even think about Stuart Smalley. You remember Stuart Smalley? He would look in the mirror and go you are wonderful. You are amazing. We'd laugh at him and be like, oh, that's so cheesy. But that shit works, guys. Pardon my French, but that S works. start saying things, even if you don't believe it, even if it's cringeworthy and it makes your skin crawl to say, like, I am going to be healthy. I am going to be a leader. I am going to be successful. I am going to create wealth. Like, what is your I am statement? So I would suggest.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, this is Myron Golden. Can I share something about what you just said about abracadabra? It's something I've studied in its original language. This is going to blow your mind. Abracadabra is actually the same word in almost every language, and it's originally in Hebrew, which I believe is the original language. In Hebrew, every letter has a definition. So if you take each letter and the definition of each letter of the word abracadabra, is the aleph. Anyway, it means God creates as speaks God. That's what abracadabra actually means.
Okay, I just learned something this morning.
So anyway, I just, like, when you said that, I said, I didn't share this.
Hey,
No, that is good stuff. Thank
Myron
you
will
so
take
much.
us to church.
Wait, who was it, Fred?
What's that?
Who just
Is Myron?
Yeah,
He's
Myron
Myron.
Myron Golden. Myron Golden. So if you look at the letters, each letter has a meaning. Like aleph represents God, and then bara actually means to speak. Abara, ha means as, and then debar means speaks, and then God. God creates as speaks God.
my language, because I studied theology. I'm all about the ancient mysteries and the universe, and it's funny because I'm going to give everyone two really cool nuggets right now. I'm going to give you one nugget, and I'm going to give you one homework assignment. But the nugget is go Google or go to YouTube and look for Finding Joe, and just watch the movie Finding Joe. It's about Joseph Campbell. Myron, are you familiar with Joseph Campbell?
I'm not familiar with Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell came up with the concept of the hero journey.
Hero's Journey.
Yeah, and the hero journey.
Yeah, I have that book.
Studied every single myth, every single ancient religion, modern religion, every single movie, every single story we've told, every oral tradition, and he found basically they all have the same common thread, and it's the arc of the hero journey. It's you're born into one life. There's you're separated, so there's the separation. You're ripped away from the bosom of your family, right, and your mother, and then there's sort of that separation piece. And then there's the redemption piece. You come back, you return the hero, and that's the Jesus metaphor. It's Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. It's Luke Skywalker. It's every single story we've ever told. It's every myth. It's every religion. And so he boiled it down into the hero journey, and it's the code breaking, right? It's a algorithm for success. And so get that figured out. And here's where it starts. So take out a piece of paper, write the words I am, ... and then fill in the rest of the piece of paper. And I want everyone to think about this. And here's the way you want to think about this, because you're like, I am. I've never even asked myself that question. I have no idea what he's talking about. Here's what it is. If you were given a unique gift to make the world a better place, what's that unique gift to you? Right? What is the one thing that Jarrett or Romney or Kavanaugh, like what's the one thing that you guys were given? What's the one unique gift to you that you're going to be here? So like, for example, I am a kingmaker. I am a success philosopher. I am a cultivator and collector of success stories. I am a rock star father, husband, parent, friend, partner, whatever it is. And then write it down again. And then make it more condensed and get really clear on what it is, and think big about yourself. Glenn said to me very early on, Glenn Stanford said, Brian, every real estate agent should start a brand and call themselves the CEO of their own brand. He goes, your vibration levels will elevate. And it's like, I was like, what is this guy talking about? Right? But sure enough, he's right. And by the way, I was on a team, I was at a brokerage, and he's telling me to start my own personal brand. Like, it didn't even make sense. But I did it, right? And so what is your personal brand? That's like the only thing you need to think about right now. Get clear on who you are. What is your personal brand? What is your I am statement? And then embrace it. And here's the magic formula. Get clear on who you are. Embrace the hero journey. Step into the abyss, okay? And then once you take that action, here's the magic formula. The universe will respond by sending you gifts and allies, like just like Dorothy and the lion and the Tin Man showed up, right? Or just like, the Ranger and Gandalf showed up for Frodo, right? Once you grab the ring and decide I'm going to go throw this thing into the volcano, the universe will respond by sending you powers and allies, and it's really that simple.
Okay,
Brian,
this is.
I want to add to this
Hold
if I can.
on.
Who is that?
What?
Is that Akimi?
Yeah, it's Akimi.
Okay, go ahead, Akimi.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Good morning, everybody. I want to add to this because I love all of this. I want to add one thing before you get to, all the things that you just said, because I think what's happened to a lot of people is they become in this life what the world has told them to be, right? So what their teachers told them, their parents told them. And so I think the most important thing that we have to do before we can get to any of this stuff is we really have to sit with ourselves as a child, right? And remember what our dreams really were. Because if you don't sit with your inner child and figure out your soul signature and why God created you so uniquely, right? Then you can't, it's hard for people to figure out, what's my personal brand? What is this? What is that? And so I just want to encourage everyone, if you haven't, figured out why God created you, what you're here to do, and done work with your soul signature to do that. I have a spiritual teacher that I work with 2 hours a week who has helped me and continues to help me to pull all of that out of me, because everything that I do, I want aligned with my soul signature, why God created me to be here. And so I think it's super important. And if anybody wants connection to that, DM me. I'm happy to share her. But I really believe that that's the piece that's missing, is how do people shift out of who the world told them to be and go into who God created them to be.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to this. What Akimi just said is huge. And I have 8 kids, right? So I see it. I see the seeds that are already planted in them starting to sprout. Savannah's a leader, Joel's a worker. Like we see it, and you're so right, Akimi. And as Brian, as far as what you said, I am changing the way people start their day, right? I am changing the way people start their day with Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club. That's what this is here. We're changing the way people start their day. And by doing so, by declaring that, I made that declaration 3 years ago. I've been showing up every single day to make that happen. And Brian talked about the allies. Look at the allies in the room right now, right? There are 1,200 people in this room right now changing the way they start their day. So I want to reset it real quick, and then we're going to keep going with Brian. But I just want to reset the room real quick. This is Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club. This is your opportunity to grab a seat at the table. I always just wanted a seat at the table. If I could just listen in to those that are doing what I wish I could do. And that's what we're doing here every morning, Monday through Friday, from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. We are helping change the way you start your day. Make sure you follow every person that has a green star next to their name. Take the time right now to follow Brian. He is dropping gems up in here, so make sure you grab him. He's right there. Brian, you can see him. He's next to Kristen, next to Danelle, next to Matt, under Kylie. Make sure you click on his profile. Make sure you follow him. It's so incredibly important. Also, we need more allies in this fight. I believe if we can change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. So let's continue to bring in allies. Hit that little plus button on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Bring people into the room. Where else are you going to find this? Thank you, Clubhouse, for being able to create this space. There are 1,200 people in a room at 8:30 in the morning Eastern time, just gobbling up all kinds of amazing value and wisdom. And the last thing I want to say is, if you do click on my profile, I'm up here in the top left corner, and you scroll down to the very bottom, hit view full profile, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that we have a Breakfast with Champions club here on Clubhouse now, and we would love for you to be a part of our club. We're going to continue to add value in the mornings. We're going to continue to bring on amazing people like Brian. We're going to host training sessions in the club. We're going to do giveaways in the club, all kinds of things. So make sure you follow us. And lastly, if you struggle in the mornings with your mornings routine, we do have a free resource. you can go to themorning5.com. That's themorning5.com. You can download the free ebook. It's absolutely free, and it breaks down 5 simple steps to an extraordinary life that tie right into what Brian is saying, writing those I am statements. I am thankful for where I am, and here is where I am going. This is the mission. Brian, you've been so powerful in here this morning, and you had said you had a couple other things for us. I know you had talked about that triangle, the golden triangle of wealth, and then you've been bringing to us the power of the I ams and the hero's journey, and I still want to hear more. What else you got for us, my man?
Well, you want to talk about jumping in cold water?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Kimmy, you brought up something very powerful, and it's actually funny that you mentioned it because it's at the beginning of the Finding Joe, Joseph Campbell movie. There's a metaphor about the Golden Buddha, and this army's coming by to sack the town, and so the monks cover the Golden Buddha with mud and dirt and trees, and they want to hide it. And then after the army's done occupying years later, the townsfolk forgot that the Buddha was golden. And it wasn't until a few generations later that some kid's sitting under the Golden Buddha, or a few years later, and that like one of the pieces cracks off, and he sees the golden hand, and then he runs and tells all the town folk. And basically, that's the metaphor Kimmy just described. Is we start to become who everyone tells us. We're all born perfect, and we all go back to when you were 7 and think about what you wanted to be as a kid. I'm sure it wasn't I want to be the junior account executive at XYZ company. Right. So it's like, what was your 7-year-old mind for yourself? What did you want to be, and kind of tap back into that. But the cold water piece. And so Kimmy, you talked about like, Kimmy, you talked about, we got to like reconnect. We got to reconnect. It's not as easy as just making the decision, unfortunately. Right. I mean, I wish it was, because a lot of people are hearing this, they're probably inspired, and they're like, man, I'm going to change my life. And then boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden I got to go eat some eggs, and where's my kids? And okay, whatever. And they're going to forget 80% of what we just talked about, maybe more. But so we talked about downtrodden neurological pathways. How do you reset that brain tissue? How do you reset your mood? Just like Glenn reset the conversation, there are certain biohack resets that you can tap into. And the best of the best is cold water. So literally, it's the stepping into the abyss. It's embracing the hero journey. It's all of it rolled into one, right? It's entering the cave that we fear, but there's gold in the cave that we fear, right? But what's sitting in front of the gold? The dragon. So what's the dragon? So I think Brad Axelrad might be on the call today. Brad talks about facing your dragon. And so facing your dragon hey, by the way, guys, I hate freaking getting in cold water. I hate it. But guess what? That hate is what makes it great. And so if it was easy, everybody'd do it, right? It's easy taking a hot shower, right? But that ain't going to strengthen your arterial walls, and that's not going to reset your brain tissue, and that's not going to increase your metabolism and your blood circulation. But you know what will? Cold water will. And it'll also make you breathe more. And guess what breathing more does? It makes your blood more alkaline. And it resets your mood, and it makes you feel better. It elevates your mood. It makes you think clearer. It puts you into expansion mode versus contracting mode. When I'm in contracting mode, I want to fire everybody. I want to quit my job. I want to go hide in my room and play Fortnite all day. Okay? And sometimes I do that when I'm feeling great, by the way. No, but so I want to hide, but when I'm feeling good, and when I'm alkaline and I'm jacked up and I do my breath work, when you guys are talking about morning rituals, here's my morning ritual. I get up, I have a little bit of coffee, rise and grind coffee, right? I try and do it bulletproof style because, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6". I've been as heavy as 300 pounds. I'm down to 235 right now, and I attribute a lot of it to cold water. But that morning ritual is basically I'll get up on my coffee, and then about once the sun starts peeking over the mountains, I'll go lay down on my back and I'll watch a Wim Hof guided breathwork video. Okay, I can do it without watching the video, but there's something magical about listening to Wim's voice. Google Wim Hof, WIMHOF. It'll change your life forever. And I just do about 15 to 20 minutes of focused, intentional breathing. I mean, it's nothing more complicated than 100% in, 50% out. 100% in, 50% out. And I'll do that about 30, 40 times. On the last exhale, I'll hold it exhaled as long as I can. And I fight through the urge to want to breathe. Now, there's something magical, and this is the biohack. You're tripping your brain into thinking you're drowning, And your brain will respond by shooting adrenaline, serotonin, norepinephrine down your brain, out through your spinal column and into your bloodstream. And it's there to save your life. Just like they talk about mothers can lift a car off their baby after a car accident, we all have that same adrenaline. I call it the break glass in case of emergency adrenaline supply. We all have that, but unfortunately it takes a crisis event to trigger it, or a manufactured crisis event like jumping in cold water. So that cold water, it's got to be like colder than like 55 degrees, technically. It's got to be shocking. It's got to take your breath away, or it's not going to work. And so jumping in cold water, and you want to be fully submerged, or a cold shower. And sometimes cold showers are harder than jumping in a bathtub full of ice cubes, because you have to almost make yourself stay in 100,000 times versus just one time. But anyways, however you can find cold, get in it and breathe through it until you feel like you can stay in it indefinitely. That's when the adrenaline kicks in. It usually happens right around the 2-minute mark. But that adrenaline rush, so I'll do that. So I'll do the breath work. By the way, that primes the pump. And the cold water 10x is the adrenaline, right? Because the breath work simulates drowning. The cold water simulates freezing to death. By the way, the only way to strengthen the arterial walls for the doctors out there and the people with, maybe think they have high blood pressure or any sort of blood issues, the only way to strengthen the muscle system around your blood veins is extreme temperature and extreme altitude. Well, guess what? Out of the 4, hot, cold, and depths of water and heights of the mountains, 3 of them can kill you really fast. The one that can't kill you as fast is cold water. So of the 4, cold water is your best option. And so, listen, I've spent 4 years researching this stuff and practicing on myself and being my own researcher and studying from masters like Troy Casey and Wim Hof and many, many others. But, and then that also goes back to kind of my early training with Glenn. When I met Glenn, he was a marathon runner. He's a black belt in judo. It's just finding those people that inspire you and sticking close to them, right?
Hey, Brian, you've been talking about 10Xing this whole time. Right now we've got Mr. Brian Colhane on the stage, and he is the co-founder of eXp Realty, a partner of mine and just a great friend. But the 10X man is in the room, Mr. Grant Cardone. Grant, I don't know if you're available to have a conversation real quick, but we have been talking about 10Xing this morning with Mr. Brian Colhane. And Grant, are you available to come on?
No, Grant's in another room. Grant's in another room.
I am sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, Grant's in another room, but there is someone in the room named Erica, and Erica is a superstar who I met a few years ago who decided to change her life and is now one of the top salespeople in the country and the top salesperson at Dan Cummins. And she messaged me and she had a question for Brian, so I'm gonna let her ask Brian her question.
Well, and the only thing I want to say before that, Erica is in my last book. My second book was Car Buying Her Way, The Fierce Girl's Roadmap to the Car of Your Dreams, and I told Erica's story in my book. So Brian Colhane, drop her so much knowledge because she's amazing. So.
Well, Erica, you drop first.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome, because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so in 2017, I made $40,000. I was a single mom, raising 2 kids by myself. And because of a series of bad decisions in my 20s, I had ruined my credit. I was not in a good place in life, honestly. And I woke up one morning and looked at my boyfriend at the time and said, I think I want to sell cars. And it was really like God just spoke to me. I can't explain it really any other way. And when I did that, within probably 48 hours, I was introduced to Glenn. And he can tell you I walked in to my interview with my background check and my resume, begging for, a different life. So fortunately, I was given that different life tenfold. And this past year, I'm just going to be really transparent. That's just who I am as a person. This past year, I made $220,000. I believe that I work at the greatest place on earth. I believe that I have the greatest bosses on the planet. But I live my life like sometimes in a bubble, afraid if I break a leg, like, you know, you all were talking earlier about different streams of income, and afraid if I break a leg or, you know, what am I going to do? I wouldn't be able to pay my house payment or whatever. So I have gotten my life now where in the past, I'll be at Dan Cummins 3 years in May. So I haven't been there quite 3 years. But I bought a house and I have a new truck, and my daughter actually joined the Air Force. So we got her off of our payroll. Thank God. Like, my life is completely different, but I don't know where to go next, if that makes sense. Like, so that I do have maybe that second stream of income in case I did break my leg, because my plan is to retire at Dan Cummins. But what is that next step for me? And how do I find that out?
Yeah, well, listen, you know, and that's going to be a question for you. You know, I would suggest maybe, again, sitting down, doing the I am statement, just listening out, you know, kind of your vision for yourself. You know, there's 4 parts to having a successful business. They call them the 4. It's the roadmap for a profitable business, and it starts with a vision. And then the next piece is a plan. And then the third piece is taking action. And then the 4th piece is a sense of belonging. So it starts with the vision. You know, get clear on the vision of who you want to be and who you are, and then come up with the plan, right? The action steps, and then you got to take those steps. But here, you know, I'm a big fan of getting people into real estate, right? I gave out 25 scholarships last year. If anybody's thinking about getting into real estate, you can DM me. We've got an excellence academy that we put together. And so I'm a big fan of getting your real estate license. I just think it's a very powerful tool. Even if you're just buying and selling your own properties, you're going to save a boatload of money, and it's going to pay for itself 1,000 times over. My dad, again, was a limo. He was actually a hippie artist that was a limo driver and a courier when I was a kid, and he ended up getting his Series 7 and his day trading license, and he ended up having, like, when he passed away, he had like 4 or 5 licenses. And I kind of looked at those licenses like different clubs in his golf bag, right? You know, you don't use the same club for 18 holes for every shot. So when it comes to business, you know, I kind of think of, you know, I don't think we lack opportunity, right? A lot of people think like opportunity only knocks once. Well, that's not true. I think opportunity never stops knocking. And I think that we get numb to it and we start to tune it out. And some level, we start to tell it to go away. Like, stop knocking opportunity. You're driving me crazy, right? And so it's not that we lack opportunity. It's that we lack the proper vetting systems to vet all of this opportunity that's basically overwhelming us. And so I think of opportunity like a leaky roof during a really bad rain. Like, imagine we live in like a thatch roof, you know, medieval times grass hut, and there's a really bad, you know, they talk about it rains cats and dogs. Well, literally, when it would rain really bad back in the medieval times, the cats and dogs would hide in the roof, and it would rain so bad that drop out of the roof. So it was like you're raining cats and dogs, right? Well, imagine rain as an opportunity, and the leaky roof is every drop of rain represents a different form of opportunity. Okay, so I want to have this. You know, if you have a leaky roof, you're going to put the bucket under the spout. You're going to put the thimble under the drip. You're going to put the dish under the whatever, right? The different level, and you know, maybe the trash can goes under the pour in the middle. And I think of all those buckets as different businesses or different ways to catch opportunity. And so I don't want a drop of opportunity to hit the floor. Here's another little magic formula, though, for everybody is, you know, don't make success the goal. Don't make money the goal. You can't work on financial freedom. You can't work on time freedom. I mean, time freedom should be everybody's ultimate goal, right? You want to have time freedom. You know, Grant Cardone talks about freedom. You know, you got to have enough money to be free. Make that your goal. But you can't work on it. You can't work on being financially free. I mean, it sounds crazy, and especially I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that might disagree with that, but let me explain why. Because, so the formula is you can only work on yourself. You know, there's a phrase like, the best thing I can do for you, Glenn, is continue to work on me, and the best thing you can do for me is to continue to work on you. But you can only work on yourself. But here's the thing. I've been a coach for my whole life. I coached basketball, and now I coach real estate and business people. And what I realized was I was doing it all wrong. So for many, many years, I would say, you got to pound the pavement. You got to pound the phones. You got to, you got to go. You got to crush it. You got to run through brick walls. You got to, just be an animal, be a beast mode, no sleep, da-da-da-da-da. And I thought about this. I'm like, what is the essence of sales? Like, if I'm asking a salesperson to go out and do something, I'm trying to be quick here, folks, because it's a lot of stuff. But I'm saying, you're really asking them to go out and make friends with strangers, are you not? Right? Like, hey, well, I've got friends and family. Well, you're going to burn through that sphere real fast. And so, if you're a good salesperson, it's how do you attract the masses? How do you attract strangers? And by the way, through my biohacking, I've learned that being around strangers creates you get a cortisone spike. You get like a spike of adrenaline, like your fight or flight kicks in. Look no further than being in an elevator with strangers, right? It's like time stops, right? You're so like, oh my God, who are these people? Like, that's hardwired into our DNA to fear, the tribe across the river that is not like us, right? That's a safety mechanism that's hardwired into our biology for, a million years worth of evolution. So look no further than being around strangers. Well, I'm asking salespeople to go out and make friends with 25 new strangers today. And a lot of these guys and gals don't even want to get out of bed in the morning. They don't like the way they look in the mirror. They're not confident. They've got low energy. And I'm like, I remember when I was, coming up in the game and, we'd go out to the bars or whatever. And like, I was always so jealous and impressed with that one guy who could just walk up to a table full of four girls and introduce himself. Like, I was like, how does that guy even, it's like, that's crazy. I'd rather die. Well, you would rather die, right? I mean, literally, you'd rather die than experience the shame and the pain of going and interview. Well, anyways, so here I am asking all these people to go make friends with strangers, and I realized I was doing it wrong. So instead of working with my team now on sales techniques and making more calls, I work on this stuff. I work on the I am stuff. I work on the raising the vibration levels, increasing their energy levels, because here's why. The better you feel, the more people you're going to go out and interact with. The more people you interact with, the more opportunity that's going to cross your path. If you're in real estate, in the forms of buyers, sellers, people that you can attract to the brokerage, investors. But in any business, the more people Brian Carruthers again would say your network is your net worth. So the more people you meet, the more. My dad used to say you got to play in traffic as a salesman. Right? I'm one of the few guys that probably dad told me to go play in traffic. But you got to play in traffic. You got to increase your relationship factor. So the better you feel, the more people you meet, the more opportunities cross your path. And then the byproduct becomes financial success. And when you add them all together, when you're feeling good, when you've got the money coming in, whether you get out of bed or not, guess what the byproduct of that is? That's time freedom. And that's doing what you want, as much as you want, with whoever you want, whenever you want. And it's got to be all four. Right? It can't just be, I can lay on a park bench and smoke pot all day, right? That's not time freedom, right? It's doing as much as you want, as often as you want, with whoever you want, whenever you want. If Lisa and I want to go to the Super Bowl next weekend and sit in Tom Brady's booth, like, that's time freedom, right? Or we want to go hang out with Grant Cardone and his wife and maybe tool around on Tony Giri's yacht, like, that's time freedom, right?
Hey, Brian.
Yep.
So we are at the top of I could listen to you guys and gals in the room. I get to work with this guy every single day. Like, how lucky am I? But we're at the top of the hour. And Brian, I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back next week, because you are dropping so many bombs that you are changing people's lives. I know you are. So I promise everybody, I'm getting texts. They want to talk to you, but we're at the top of the hour. My good friend, Michael Cirillo, is up next, and I don't want to take away from him, but I promise you, everybody, I will bring back Mr. Brian Colhane, the co-founder of eXp Realty, an absolute life guru, somebody that I have the honor and the privilege and just the pleasure of working with every single day. Brian, thank you for waking up this morning, being you, doing you, and just making everybody in the room better.
Hey, I'm just happy to be vertical. And I love you, Lisa, like a sister. You guys rock. Glenn, you're the man. I appreciate you, brother. And everybody in the room. Michael, take it away, brother. I don't want to eat up any more of your time.
Dude, Brian, that was so valuable, bro. Like, thank you so much for sharing your space and time with us this morning here on Breakfast with Champions. I have been enthralled. I have pages of notes. I am your new biggest fan. Please watch out, because I know someone who knows where you live, so I may just show up on your doorstep.
I guarantee.
Beautiful, man. I love it. This is Breakfast with Champions, Millionaire Breakfast Club. If you found value in that, make sure you follow Brian, and make sure you continue to follow all the moderators in this group, because everybody in this group adds so much value, man. It's straight value. Everyone in here just wants to serve. They want to help you get to that next level. You know, we see a stage and you see a stage and an audience, but what I see is over 1,300 people all sitting together at the table, having breakfast, having conversations, strategizing, moving each other's lives forward, right? It's been an absolutely incredible experience so far, and we still have another hour left. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. We do this Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Hold on, Fisher. Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on Clubhouse. You can make sure you get the notifications and know that we're here by following those mods. Also, you can join our club. If you click on my profile, top left corner, go all the way down, you'll see our Breakfast with Champions logo. You can join our club and learn more about all the different things that we're going to be doing here on Clubhouse. Super, super cool. Hit the plus sign, ping a friend in here. Let's continue to have some fun. This has been amazing. Brian, seriously. Lisa, thank you so much for bringing Brian to us. I so appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. My goodness. What do you guys think, right? Can you all flash your mics if you thought Brian brought some value today?
Thanks, everybody.
Brian, man, that was amazing. Hey, everybody, it is the top of the hour. This is Breakfast with Champions. Fisher is crying because Glenn promised he could eat cake for breakfast, and Glenn's wife said, "Oh, nay. Oh, nay. So, I am super pumped. We're going to have an incredible conversation. I just kind of want to reset the room as well. Breakfast with Champions. This is your chance to sit at the table. Glenn, thank you so much for putting this room together. This is all about helping you change the way you start your day. You see where I'm putting emphasis? Glenn is an inspiration to many, but you have to understand, Glenn can't change your day for you. He can inspire you to do it. We can inspire you to do it, but you are the rock star that is going to change the way you do it. And you can get a kickstart on that by going and downloading Glenn's book over at The Morning 5. That's the number 5, themorning5.com. Go ahead and grab that if you have not yet already. I promise you, it is an incredible read. You'll probably be able to blast through that sucker in about, I don't know, an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And if you apply what is written, what Glenn's written in that book, I can add my voice and echo what he promises, that it will absolutely have a tremendous impact. You will be shocked, perhaps, at how powerful you actually are. You are more powerful than you're giving yourself credit for. Now, I want to have a cool conversation. I think maybe it's going to be a little bit polarizing. Maybe there's going to be some agreement, maybe some disagreement. But I want to have a conversation amongst the moderators here, and then a little bit later we're going to open it up to Q&A. And the way I see this working, since there are a lot of moderators, and I know there's going to be a lot of cool conversation around this topic, which I'm going to introduce in just a second. I think what I'll do, just for the sake of keeping things moving, is I'm going to call out moderators by name. So if the mods could just flash their mics, so I know who's here. Who's not on the Peloton taking a shower, because what I'll do is I'll kick off the conversation and then lead into a question, and then I'll call on you by name just to get your thoughts, and we'll probably do 2 at a time. So I'll ask a question, I'll turn it over to 2 moderators, and then I'll go back into a follow-up question and call on 2 other moderators.
All about Peloton.
I should have invested, man. What am I doing? So
It's never too late.
It's never, hey, don't prepare, begin.
Exactly.
So let me kick off the conversation with a quick story. It's going to take me about 35 seconds. I have a cousin. He's actually a what do you call it? A first cousin once removed. So he's my mom's first cousin. He lives on the island of Madeira in Portugal, and he's very, very wealthy. He lives in a compound. There's 2 guest houses on his property, a big mansion. He made his millies. He made his milli-dollies by designing presidential medals and medals for Olympics. And he worked for the big company where he would not only design those, I think, he designed Ronald Reagan's presidential inauguration medal that they get, Bill Clinton. He did medals for Olympic Games. And he came to visit us in Canada once, and this was right as my career was really starting to take off. Things were just falling into place. I was working so hard that luck was finding me. And as he got to know me and we were chatting and he saw, everything going on in my life, here's something he said to me. He said, "Whatever you do, Michael, don't lose your family in the process." He didn't say that to be a dream stealer. He said that because he saw what was going on in my life. He saw the excitement. He was super pumped for me, but he also noticed something else. He noticed that because of my pursuit for, material success, I was missing first days of school. I was missing the first swim lessons. I was missing Christmas recitals. And so I'm incredibly grateful for his wise words. And so I want to have a conversation about legacy and the balancing act that I think a lot of people in the room are often struggling with, as far as, well, how do I build the right framework to create generational wealth? And how does what I'm doing, this hustle, this grind, how does this feed into the concept of legacy? Now, if you look at my bio, and by the way, I'm Michael. I'm the bald Seth Rogen. I'm right next to the Rundown, and on the same row as Fireman, who's doing some incredible things. You'll notice that one of my things is that I don't believe that any material success will compensate for failure at home. So I want to kick this question off to moderators, and I'm going to start with Chris, my man Chris Winfield. He's my long lost brother. Chris, if you're here, man, I'd love to get your thoughts on how do you navigate the hustle of career while also maintaining or demonstrating for the next generation that they are, not only the reason you're doing this, but also the most important thing to you.
Hey, Michael, and good morning, everyone. Thank you. I like listen to you all day, but you already know that. So, this is something that, to be completely frank and real about, is that I've struggled with throughout my career and throughout my life. I've shared on here before that, 10 years ago, I got sober, and so you can imagine what my life looked like, what my priorities looked like before that. One of the big catalysts behind that was my daughter was 1.5, and I had, if you came to me and said, hey, what's the most important thing in your world? I would say my daughter, but my actions didn't match that up. And her name's Vivian Grace. I have a giant V tattooed on my back, literally a giant V. But my actions, throughout, being present or just being there didn't always match that up. One of the most important things in my life is making sure that she knows that I'm always there for her. And I shared something that I do every single day, no matter what, because I'm with her half the time. She's with her mom half the time. And one of the things that I do, no matter what, if she's here in my house, if I'm traveling, I'm not with her. She's old enough now; she has a phone. And one of the first things that I do every single morning, speaking of my morning routine, is that I send her a message saying how much I love her, all the special things about her, and that that she's it. She's the most important thing. And you know, that's like a little thing, like it's a little grounding thing for me, around that and around her just knowing. And it's like a reminder for me as well. It's literally, I track my daily routine on an app called Way of Life. And one of the things in there is just I send V a note. And, you know, it's always amazing because she has that, she knows, like, deep down, like 100%, there's not one milli% of her that doesn't know how much I love her, like, or how amazing she is, which is a really, really powerful thing for a kid to know. So, you know, but that's like this has always been a thing. I have a very obsessive personality. I get completely absorbed in things. You know, even in my relationship with my partner, Jen, who might be on here. Yeah, she is. I mess up all the time, and you know, I'll reprioritize in the wrong way. But you know, I think that coming back to the North Star with those most important people, with Jen, who, if you're listening, you can hear me. I love you. It's you know, it's so that's what it always comes back to. So I don't know if I answered your question, Michael, but
Yeah, man.
I wanted to keep it real because I don't want to say that I have it figured out because I don't. But I do know where it all comes back.
Yeah, this is so powerful because it is real, and I love the authenticity. You can sense it, and that's one of the things I love about this app is you just can't fake it. You know, I think sometimes people look up to this stage and they go, oh yeah, these people all have it figured out. I prefer to turn this app to its side, so I just put my phone into, what do you call it, landscape mode, so that I can see everybody standing next to us, not me above anybody or whatever. And so I love your authenticity. Danelle, if you're here, you just know I was coming for you next. Danelle, is Danelle here?
I'm here. I'm here. And, you know, speaking of family, I'm carrying dog food. It's real life today.
I need to know. I love what you have to say about pretty much anytime you open your mouth. I open up a notebook. I just need to have a Danelle notebook at this point and have the Danelleisms. You have such a tremendous story. How do you, what's your take on this conversation?
You know, it's such a beautiful conversation, and I think even just hearing Chris talk, you could hear it in his voice. All of us have failed at this, so we could be better. You know, if you take a look at my life, really what turned it all around was my divorce, right? You would have never thought that we were the best friends in the world. And, you know, when we got into financial trouble, somebody had to figure it out. And so I had to figure it out. I was just the one who could. That was just my place in the marriage. And so I went to work, and I went and worked and learned sales. And I was taking care of the kids during the day. I was on sales phone calls. As soon as he got home from work, I was out speaking at night and weekends and traveling. I just had twins. Like, it was the hardest juggling act. And you know, I think most entrepreneurs are obsessive personalities, right? We're addictive personalities. We catch on to something that we know we could turn around or learn or earn our way forward, we give it all of our attention. And I remember the day I was working so hard and I came home and I had missed seeing one of my daughters take her first steps. And I was devastated. I was humiliated. I barely talk about it now because she doesn't remember, right? I don't want her to know. And you know, I devastated my marriage by being gone all the time, trying to fix some financial thing. And really, when you get down to it, you know, you need money to survive. So I didn't really have a choice. It was the marriage or the money. And you know, and people will tell you it's never worth as much. You got to do that. But the truth is, they're both worth a whole lot. And we have to learn how to do both. And the only way to do it is really to parent ourselves, right? Is to create these schedules. It's like the morning five. How you start your day is how the rest of your day goes. If you wake up and you're rolling over on your phone and you're watching everybody else's dreams come true and clicking like you got to get up, do your morning five, and then you get in here. Like Glenn's got me up earlier doing the morning five before I hop on this. And I'm like, nope, follow the rules, right? And I have windows of time like 4 to 6. Well, it used to be when my kids went to school. Now they school from my house. I would take 0 phone calls. That's when I pick them up from school. It's when we do our gratitude in the car. That's when we have dinner. That's when I help them on homework. Like I had no other parent to help, serve them. And so creating the family work thing, everybody likes to call it balance. I don't know that I've ever lived in balance because I'm such a hustler by heart. But I believe it's called priorities. I just know my priorities, right? My business is number 2. My kids are number 1. And everything after that gets the attention after that. I always tell people they'll be super successful if they just do what they're supposed to do. We all know what we're supposed to do, but we fill our days with all these things that don't matter, right? And we take up all these times with people who never really would care about us. And so I think if you align your priorities like a target, like a bullseye, right? Like a shooting target, okay? Now, don't tell me what you think about guns. I'm a shooter. I'm from Colorado. Sorry. Love the bullseye. And I love to shoot guns. So if you take a look at it, that bullseye is what they were, Kemi was talking about earlier. That's your purpose. That bullseye is your purpose. And, when I first got started, it was just I wanted to matter. So that bullseye is there. Right outside that next rung is my family. My family. Now I have my kids who are part of that. I have a couple other people who are part of that. Outside of that is business. Most people can't define the order of their priorities, so they can't define the importance of their day. They can't define what goes where. For me, if I got a choice and it comes up kids or business, I'll choose kids. If it comes out opportunity or friends or something or business, I'll choose business. Like you got to put your oxygen mask on in the correct order, just like the airplane analogy. But for me, that's it. I had to come to grips with what my priorities were and understand that the moment I went against that was the moment I went against my purpose, my intention. I didn't think God would bless that if I didn't bless what he gave me. I lost our first child along the way. It was a terrible experience, so I value my kids more than most people. I lost my marriage, so I value the people in my life a lot more valuably. I just think our mistakes are there as like the greatest warning signs in the world, but you got to know your priorities, and then you have to be as great a person who will have those commitments and work your commitments and eliminate all those things that keep you from getting closer to your goal. Like it's family business. People are like, what about dating, Danelle? Well, not right now, right? That'll be eventually. Like I know what I have to do. I have to take care of my kids, and then I made room for that. But you have to figure that piece out. People just need to look themselves in the eye and go, these are my priorities. Will I work them? If not, they're not your priorities. So get your targets right. That's what I'd say, Michael.
Michael, can I chime in here?
Who am I talking to?
Hey, this is Matt Andrews. I'm right here by Danelle, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Danelle, I totally agree with what you said. And Michael, thank you for this topic. This is a great topic. Definitely something to be spending time thinking about in the morning here. And Glenn, thank you for this amazing morning time that you make for all of us. Really appreciate you, man. So, yeah, I agree with what Danelle said. I think it's about having our priorities straight. I think a lot of it has to do with having real goals set too, because people like us, entrepreneurs, business owners, type A driven personalities, if we don't have goals and real goals, concrete goals set, we never know when we've reached our goals, right? We never know when it's time to take a rest. We never know when we've actually can stop for a minute and think about and reflect, enjoy the moment, and be fulfilled. And people like us, personalities like us, if we don't have those goals set, our default simply becomes more, right? It's what we will default to because it's the kind of personalities that we are. And if we get into that, if we just get into the default of more, we will start to steal time away from the people that we profess to care about and love the most, right? So I've got a 6-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son. I will steal time away from them if I don't know when I'm done at work, if I don't know when I've achieved what I want to achieve. I will steal the time away from them. So I think a lot of it has to do with the clarity, like Danelle was saying, the clarity that comes with having real goals set, so that we know when we've accomplished something and we don't steal the time from the people that we love the most. And something I've really worked on with my kids is, the idea of quality time is something that we all want with our children, with our loved ones, with our family, right? But I believe you can't manufacture quality time. Now, Disney World might tell you differently. You can be a terrible parent all year long, take your kids for a nice vacation for a week and all is forgiven. That's not the way it works, right? You can't manufacture quality time. I can't go home to my kids today and say, all right, Penelope, you're 6. All right, Tucker, you're 3. We're going to have quality time start now, right? And that quality time starts right then. The quality time only comes through having quantity time, right? So you have to have quantity time so those organic moments of quality truly emerge. You've got to be able to put the time in. So, one last thing, and this is a device that I use. A lot of you have probably used this in your business, the concept of a SWOT analysis, SWOT. If you don't know about this, I'd highly recommend it. Take a piece of paper, make 4 quadrants: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? A lot of us do this in business when we're evaluating a new idea. I do this when I'm evaluating a new business I want to acquire or a new company I've started. But do this as a father, do this as a mother, do this as a husband, as a wife. Use this for every phase of your life. Break down and be honest about your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so I do this as a father. I look at the things that really are a threat to me being a good father and spending that good time with my kids. I look at the opportunities that I've got to be a better husband for my wife. And so I put myself through a whole life SWOT analysis, and every role that I hold, I put myself through that SWOT analysis. And one last thought here: nobody at the end of their life, and I'm sure you guys have heard a story like this, no one at the end of their life was on their deathbed, no successful person from a financial perspective was on their deathbed thinking, I wish I'd closed one more big deal. I wish I'd made just one extra million. I wish I had done just a little bit more in business and put a little bit more money into the bank. What they all think, and what we'll all think when we're on our deathbed, if we have regrets, is I wish I'd spent more time with the people I loved. I wish I'd put more time into my children. I wish I'd breathed into them what is my real legacy, not money that I've left them, but time that I spent with them and lessons that I taught for them. So I hope that helps you guys. It's something I think about a lot. I'm certainly not perfect. I'm trying to get better every day, but those are just some of the techniques I use, and appreciate it. Matt Andrews here.
Matt Andrews, thank you so much. So I'm incredibly grateful that I have 4 sisters and no brothers who taught me that it's okay to cry. So I've been sitting here crying, guys. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but
I didn't mean to make you cry, Michael.
Man, you've got that effect on people. It's the same effect I had when I tried to date girls back in the day. Something about me made them want to go and do missionary work in South Africa or join the army. Danelle, you and Matt were talking about something that I think is so important. I don't know if Grant's still in here, but I'd love to pass him the mic, with the setup here. So, Danelle, you said family first. I think about my upbringing. We're talking legacy. I think about my father, who it's his it's his 68th birthday today. And I just fired him. He's been having some heart issues. And we're a family business. And sorry. He was a tremendous example of including me in the business. It wasn't business and kids. He would take us on his business trips. He would pull out money and show me how money worked. He would show me what service looked like. And I think legacy is about demonstrating patterns. And he was a tremendous example. So thank you. Man, I've been a keynote speaker on so many stages. This is the first time I've cried in front of 1,600 people. But I think, this is such a tremendous example. I don't know if Grant is still in here, but I see him, doing that same thing for his kids, and it really pulls on my heartstrings. And so, I guess I just kind of want to open this up to others maybe that are on the panel here who are experiencing that same thing, who instead of, drawing a gap, like Danelle, you're an incredible example. Every time I've talked to you, every time I see a picture of you, it's not you and just like your tribe. Your kids are in that picture. Your kids are with you. They're participating in this with you. What kind of impact do you think that's having on them? Like, what do you see in them that's setting them up?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, gosh, Danelle, we honor that. I'm like, I go, honestly, it wasn't because I was a great mom. It's because I had no one else. Like, it was like, if I'm going, they're going. They're coming to hear everybody speak. But then what happens, and as you were talking, I felt your heart. You're such a good soul, Cirillo. You are such a good human. And you guys hear that. And like how you're crying for your dad, I pray my kids do that for me, because I don't have that for my parents. They weren't there. And I almost went that direction. My parents were workaholics. They had to be. And I raised myself, and it made me really strong and independent. But my kids go everywhere with me. They go on the hard work, and they go to the rewards, right? And they are incredible humans. People will come to my home. They will come to our events and our retreats. They'll see me speaking. My kids are there. They'll have conversations and go, the Delgado kids, that was the best conversation I've ever had in my life. And it's an example. I know Grant was in here. I was gonna talk to him about that. Is last night we watched Undercover Billionaire. Like, for everybody in here, your kids will become, and your family will become as enrolled in your dream as you allow it, right? Invite them in there. I tell them, hey, listen, and it goes with what Matt said. I'm going to set, guys, this is my next 90-day goal. We're going to have to work hard. We're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of this time. Here's who's going to be involved in this. I'd love you guys to be as involved as you want. Here's the fun parts. Here's the hard parts. What would you guys like to learn? But for 90 days, this is what it's going to look like. And if we do that, this is what we're going to go do to celebrate. And so they become enrolled in the reward. And so they love being enrolled in the process. They'll push me out the door as opposed to make me stay. So when they come and they do that, like, imagine if your kids, like, my kids have met the Cardone kids. We've got, we've hung out together, seen pictures. And last night we were watching Undercover Billionaire, because why would I just watch it? Like, they came in and sat down, and we were watching it, and they're like, it's Grant, there's Scarlett, and they were watching. And as we watched this, we all got teary, we all laughed, and then we had like a 2-hour conversation afterwards, and they didn't want to go to bed because they had to see episode 2. And I was like, guys, it's a school night. And Seth goes, this is school. This is real school. Right? And so, like, how many ways can you enroll your kids in that? My kids know business conversations. They ask for 10% of great ideas. Like, they are adults as humans, as brains, as thinkers. Their teachers make them train mindset at school. Like, they are so enrolled in my rhythms and systems and daily routine and events. They'll speak with me sometimes. I always give them the opportunity. I never make them speak. Sometimes they want to, sometimes they don't. 10X scared them a little bit. It was a little big for them. And, people recognized them at the pool, and they got a little nervous. But, it made them so bold, so brave. Imagine if you could take the greatest leaders in the world and they would talk to your children. Grant, talk to them on the phone. The Cardones have been so amazing to my family and my kids. they have heroes as friends, and it's the greatest thing I ever did. So I don't want to take up too much time of y'all's morning. I'm just saying my disappointments for my whole family about getting a divorce and messing everything up and losing everything and rebuilding it and doing this for my kids was the greatest gift of my life, because I wasn't afraid to be like, this is going to be rough, but we're going to do it together and get on in there. So
Danelle, I love you so much. And by the way, you do not, let me just, I want 10% of this one right here. You, my friend, my dear, dear friend, you do not take up anyone's time. You fill us up in the time that we have. You fill our time. And so I'm so deeply grateful for you for edifying us.
Thank you.
I 100% agree with that. Danelle, every time I hear you speak, this is Trevor Houston, by the way. Every time I hear you, you just lift me up. You are just a light in this world. I just appreciate you so much.
Thanks,
Now
Trevor.
we're all crying, man. We're all crying.
Man, seriously, I did not plan on that happening, and it was. Come on, y'all. It was ugly cry face over here a few minutes ago. I was like, man, oh man, what am I doing?
It only hurts if you hold them in, guys. It only hurts if you hold them in. Let them roll.
Female wisdom. Seriously, one of my deepest gratitudes is the fact that I have 4 sisters, and I was the only brother. And I remember growing up, my sisters were like, "Don't worry, it's all good. It might seem lonely right now. Sure, we just put a nightgown on you and put your hair in pigtails and you're holding a Barbie doll. But like, when you grow up, like, we're going to get married and like, you'll marry somebody and she'll have brothers." Listen, y'all, I got married and my wife has 4 sisters, no brothers. I went from 4 to 8 in a matter of I do. Hey, Kristen, are you with us? Kristen McCracken Kingsbury?
I'm here. I'm driving the kids to school, but I'm here.
Hey, well, the kids are there, and so this is you. I mean, you are a tremendous example. I mean, I've had conversations with you while you were going to the school to sort stuff out, and you're running your business. I mean, what's your take on the conversation that we're having?
You know what? I think that's the beauty of entrepreneurship and building a business, and you get the opportunity to create your life by design. So, like, when I get hey, see how this goes? This is called parenting on your way to school. And no, but what I love about it is that you get the opportunity to kind of build your schedule. And so much to Danelle's point, years ago, I started coaching for Tom Ferry, and we had to go to California and be on the beach. And I looked at it as, hey, I get to take my children to be on the beach in Newport Beach and go to trainings and learn and grow. And so we spent my daughter's first birthday in a hotel room with cupcakes on the beach. And to me, it was a tax write-off. And I was looking at it from financial aspects of how we're going to build the legacy. But like, life changes and you just roll with it. And this year, as COVID hit and it was kind of a struggle to be a parent at home and online schooling kids and things like that, we just pivoted and we did what we could. And we actually had our best financial year and had kids at home. Kids had some struggles with school. So this year, this is actually the first year that I am like, you know what, I'm committed to dropping them off and picking them up and being available in the afternoons for homework, because nobody's going to do it better than mom. And so that just means that I have to put my priorities together, really focus on my priorities during the short amount of the day that I do have. And then that way I can be with my kids. But morning routine is everything. And bringing them, my son the other day says, "Mom, pull my money out of my savings account and put it into the stock market. What stock can I buy with a couple $100?" And you just get them thinking that way. You get them listening, and they see me grow every morning. They see me surround myself with powerhouses of people, and it just makes them amazing little humans.
Yeah, I love that so much. It really, part of it comes down to communication, right? It's and especially to today's standards. Here's an observation just to maybe almost pivot the conversation into this next phase here, which is I find that today, with the way social media blew up, one of the things that I love about this app in particular, and of course the podcaster in me always has an affinity for audio, but I find that, this causes us to be more authentic. You can't fake like I'm not that good of an actor. I couldn't fake. You can't fake a lot of things, but we were going down this trend where our communication became really lackluster. It was, how quickly can I leave a comment, or how quickly can I whatever. And I find like communication is one of the most crucial things. To today's standards, my observation is that when we feel like we are over communicating to someone, we're probably just barely communicating enough. And you're an example, Kristen and Danelle, and you know, just everybody that I admire on this panel. Jen, oh my gosh, Jen is here right next to Danelle. I feel like I've known her my whole life, and it's been a week on Clubhouse, but you guys are so good at communicating and getting in front of potential issues. I find like a lot of people run into issues, whether it's in their relationship with their spouse or with their children, running their business, between their employees or their coworkers, because they're just not communicating at a higher standard. I want to turn this question over to, oh my gosh, there are so many people I want to talk to. Stephen. I see Stephen up here. Stephen, are you with us?
Indeed, I am, my friend.
What have you found in your experience raising family, running your business? I said to you the other day, a gorgeous wife who is clearly blind, just like my wife. How do you find? What do you find as far as effective communication tools to kind of keep everybody rallied around the same campfire, if you will?
Very basic. You know, we have basic principles that we live by. We call them HIT: honesty, integrity, and transparency. Some people call me the hitman because I talk about it all the time. And we talk about honesty with ourselves first, right? So, you know, if we're going to say something, if we think something, if we feel something, be honest with ourselves about why we feel that way. And then, of course, the transparency part is how I step into the world with that honesty and with the feelings that I have. And it turns out it ends up being your ongoing reputation. And of course, the integrity part is the byproduct. And so that's what we base everything on. We talk very openly. The morning routine, as everyone knows, I sit on the sofa with my wife and kids. We have moments where we look at each other's eyes and we acknowledge each other. We have conscious moments. So for me, it's very, very basic information. Don't talk around the bush. Don't beat around the bush. Don't be sensational. What do you want? What's your desire? What's your wish? And let's really work on that. And then, of course, at night, it's the same thing. We sit together. You know, I sit with my kids until they fall asleep with my wife, and we talk and we have a good time. And then my wife and I go over to our bedroom and we do the same thing. Usually she falls asleep before me. And then I do what you do, is I turn off, not only do I turn off my phone, but I unplug the router, I unplug the TV, unplug any like electrical appliances, or sorry, electric like lights and everything, unplug them completely, so the room is completely free of any kind of, side thing. So the effective communication is keep it simple, solution oriented, always solution oriented. Don't complain. Look for a solution. Don't look for problems. Look for solutions.
Amazing. I'm gonna just turn it over to Sharon Lecter is here. I've never had the chance to speak with her. I love her. I consume so much of her content because I love her mind on this. Sharon, if you're here, I'd like to just get your opinion on this, but I also just want to prep everyone. We got about 20 minutes left here. I do want to open up to Q&A. Just for a few minutes near the end here. We'll have about, I'd say 15 minutes of Q&A after Sharon. But here's the thing, okay? I want to have a bit of fun. I am super curious. If you come to the stage, not only do I want your question, so if you could say, hey, I'm, and say your name and my question is, but I also want you to tell us, actually before your question, my hidden talent is, okay? I want to know. There's so many talented people. I want to know, hey, my name's Michael. My hidden talent is I like to impersonate Barney Fife from the Andy Griffith Show when things go wrong. Well, now what are we going to do? And then I want to hear your question, all right? So, Sharon, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm delighted. I just love this room, love Glenn Lundy, and appreciate the opportunity to participate. Love listening to everybody this morning. At the end, my husband and I just celebrated 40 years of marriage. So every once in a while, we think we're getting it right. And that's, at the end of the day, it's all about respect. Mutual love can go up and down. You can hate them one day, but if you respect them, it gets you through everything. And with kids, so many times we want to mold our children, but they are each little geniuses, and we need to allow them the opportunity to be creative. And when they go to school, they get taught conformity and create, crayons go out the room and blocks leave the room. And it's so important as parents and caring adults to keep them curious and creative, because that's what turns them into geniuses and allowing them to shine. Instead of telling them things, ask them things, because when you tell them something that's dictatorial and it closes their mind, like we can't afford it, it closes their mind as negative. If they want something, say, how are you going to afford it? It opens their mind, it triggers the entrepreneurial spirit, and it triggers their creativity. And boy, will they be creative if they really want something. And so I have 4 grandchildren, I have 3 children, and I love every single one of them, and every one of them is very different. And the whole concept of family life is to know that you're a collective of individual beings who love each other and respect each other.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. All right, is my pal Michelle McLean here? I'll take that as a yes.
I'm here, buddy. I'm on the treadmill. How are you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I will not do this to you. You're getting those steps in. I was just looking for somebody who would be willing to help me just kind of mod some hand raising and make sure that
I will.
Topic. Who said
I
that?
can help you, Michael.
Chris, my man, my brother.
Got you.
All right, cool. So, all right, Michelle, I'm going to let you get to your steps. I appreciate your willingness to be in here. You are a power mod, by the way. Chris, so why don't we do this? Let's open up to some hand raising. Let's get some questions. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about, the balancing act, the tightrope walk. When you come to the stage, just make sure that your microphone is muted, and then we're going to give you a minute here. I want to know your name. I want to know your hidden talent, just to have a little fun this morning. And then if you just say my question is, and keep it to like the TLDR, the too long didn't read version. Certainly these mods are incredible. I would love if all of you took an opportunity to check out their profiles, give them a follow. They're so graciously giving of their time. They all have servant's heart. I built connections with so many of them. They're incredible. And so if you would like somebody on this moderation panel to get more context, more backstory, just feel free to shoot them a DM. If we limit each kind of Q&A to 2 minutes max, and for the mods, I know everybody's going to want to have an answer to this, but if we could limit it to max, like 1 or 2 mods that feel like they have an answer, just so we're not jumping over each other. That's the challenge for all the 1,400 of us in the room, is we just love feeling that spark in people's souls, and so we all want to jump in. So with that, Chris, who's if we do a PTR, who's the first person up?
Well, there were some people on the stage already, so I'm not sure if they have got a question. But for who I see is Paul. Paul, you there? All right. We're going to go to Alinta. All right. Michael, we're not off to a great start so far.
This is where we go.
Stacy.
Hi. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Hello. Is this working?
Yes, you're good.
Yay. All right. So my name is Stacy, and my little fun fact, I guess, would be just knowing that my heart and soul connects to everybody so much, which is so cool and so fun to me. But I guess my question would be, as someone who is starting 2 businesses and who is young and 22 and is kind of like figuring out life and family and balance, is there like a number 1 key or like a magic secret sauce to it that you've all come across in the process of growing and being so successful?
Stacy, Brian Benstock here. At this age in your life, there is no balance. If you're serious about building a career, as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, as a leader, you need to dedicate the majority of your time to that. These are the key moments in your life to be able to get traction. And while friends are out at parties and enjoying social gatherings and things like that are important, You got to say, well, my goal is different. And, and this balance thing, there's no science to it. Each of us has our own understanding of it. You've got to live with the consequences of that. So if you decide, hey, I'm going to put 90% of my time into my career, you have to understand there's going to be some consequences to missing out on some of the social things. But I think right now, I've used the example before, you're a rocket ship, you're taking off. It's going to take a lot of thrust and energy to get your ship off the ground and through the clouds. And then once you break through the clouds and you're into the atmosphere, out of the atmosphere, you can move your rocket ship with a puff of air. But too many people try doing that before they've actually gotten off the ground.
Yeah, so my name is Lauren Tickner. It was my birthday literally 2 days ago, and I turned 24. And one thing I'll say to you is that, yeah, you're young, you have the energy to just go for it. But one mistake that I did make is that I kind of maybe, and I don't regret it because it's got me where I am today, but I did push crazy hard and really isolated myself from my friends. And while those friends aren't necessarily entrepreneurial, it's nice to just be able to sometimes chill out a bit. So what I would do is I would make more of an active effort to go ahead and have found like-minded entrepreneurs, which, Clubhouse is amazing. I personally would love to connect with you. So please do DM me on Instagram. But with that said, make sure that you are actually also having fun, because you will get burnt out. And that's kind of really hit me in the past couple months. It hit me for a period of time, but I'm back now. But it's just in the long term, you just don't want to isolate yourself so much that you kind of become a bit of a loner, because it's all well and good gaining success, but if you reach the top but have no one to celebrate it with, it's no fun, right? So that's one thing that I would say.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of your time. This is so fun. Thank you.
Do you mind if I chime in really quick? Michael, do you mind if I a quick one, or Chris? Or do you want to move on?
I think I wanted to. Yeah, go for it.
It's all right. Go for it. Next question. I know we only have 10 minutes left. I'll chime in the next one.
Thank you. Thanks, Stacy. You're amazing.
Thank you.
All right, Lisa.
All right, Lisa's next, Michael.
Hi, good morning. So my hidden talent is speaking in puns. And seriously, it can get embarrassing because I can't really help it sometimes. Like when I'm talking to people about something or they're saying something, like puns just literally roll into my head and off my tongue. So that's like I don't know if it's a word association thing or what goes on in my brain, but it happens all the time. So that's my hidden talent.
Us dads appreciate you.
I don't know. I have to learn how to control it sometimes.
How did you do an intro without a pun?
Right. I don't know. I'm just, so my question, what? So my question is, I am turning 53 this year, and I have my hands in really two primary things: real estate for 20 plus years, and I'm a divorce coach, mediator, and financial analyst for, again, about 20 years. And I guess I keep feeling like this pressure at my age. I'm like, I need to figure out where to focus my energy. I need to figure out where my time is best spent. What can I do with my remaining time here in this world to really maximize it? And so I would love to hear what other people are thinking about that.
I've got a great answer for this age thing. Lisa, I love that you're doing such things that are helping the world. Before I launched my podcast, I wanted to interview somebody that I would always remember, and it had to be a very important person. And so I interviewed my nanny. She's my grandmother. She was 93 at the time. She's still alive, so no spoiler alerts. She's 96 now, but she was my very first person-to-person interview. I set up cameras, lights, dual mics, and I just asked 10 questions that I wanted to ask her. And one of the questions I asked her was, I said, Nanny, what age did you think you were old? And she thought about it, and she's 60. She said, 60, I thought I was old. And I said, do you realize that was over 30 years ago? And she thought about it, and she's like, wow, time has gone by so fast. And so then I asked her, now that you know what you know, do you think 60 is old? And she said, absolutely not. I could dance. I could walk.
Hell no.
I had all my friends. I was still working. We could have traveled, but she said, you and me and your grandfather, we felt we were old and we started pretending we were old and we started acting like we were old. And she never would have thought that she lived another 34, 35, 36 years. So 60 is not old. 53 is definitely not old. So you got plenty of time. Just get after it.
I don't know. Ben Stock 60 is pretty daggone old.
Yeah. You know what? Put those damn sneakers on. Meet me in the park. Let's see how old 60 is, brother.
There it is. There it is.
Wow. Amazing. Thanks for your question. I hope that brought you value. Chris, who's up next?
Fatumata.
Hi.
All right, now I'm dying to know, how do you pronounce your name?
Fatumata. You were.
Whoa, Chris!
Boom!
Boom!
Wow.
I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity of asking a question. And my hidden talent is I am very, very warmly welcoming. It's like toward anybody. It's just the nature of mine. And my question is, I'm an aspiring self-awareness coach and transformational coach. And right now I'm figuring out how to target my audience that I want to do and how to go about getting a first client. It's like the initial, nobody really trusts you to do anything for them. And I did start doing some work on my Instagram. I was wondering any tips, ideas, routes anybody have for me on taking any steps that I could do.
Chris has the tool. Chris has the tool. Chris knows the answer. Chris knows the answer.
All right, let's go. You ready?
Yes,
Here it is. I'm going to break it down. This is the top 20 tool. So to help you get anything. Actually, my lovely fiance's here. She can do it even better. Go, Jen.
All right, here we go. The top 20 tool. This is how you get absolutely anything that you want in life. This can go for sales, investors, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, getting in the media, getting in touch with influencers, whatever it is that you want. This will help you get there. You guys ready? I want you to get out a piece of paper, and at the top of your paper, I want you to write down your goals. So in this case, we're going to say getting our first client, right? You're going to get a client, get a paying client. You're going to make 4 columns on that piece of paper. Column number 1 on the top of your...
Oh, we lost her.
Is it me? Oh, good, because I can't hear her.
Suspense. Suspense.
Jen, you're not
Jen,
on.
we lost you.
You're muted.
She's not muted, but I just can't hear her.
Go.
Hello?
Oh,
No, wait, I'm dead on my phone. I think I'm there. Am I there?
You are now.
You're there.
We're gone. You're gone for a while.
Oh, you guys,
Come on,
I was
Jen.
going so fast and nobody heard me. My headphones just don't work. I'm sorry.
Wait,
All
Jen,
right.
it's echoing though.
It's echoing?
It is a little bit.
All right, let me
It's
do
all right.
what Chris is.
Yeah,
Hang
deliver. No, you're good. You sound good on my side.
All right. This better?
Rock on.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you're good.
Okay, guys. So what you're going to do is you're going to write your goal on the top of your piece of paper, and you've got 4 columns, okay? So in this case, our goal is going to be to get clients. And we've got 4 columns on a piece of paper. In the first column, you're going to write people. And you're going to make a list of 20 people that you know in your life network. So not just in your business network, in your life network. So old friends that you went to high school with, college with, anybody on your Facebook page, anybody that you've connected with on Clubhouse, anybody that maybe your parents' friends that could help you get what you want. So either connect you to somebody that could be a great client for you, connect you to maybe someone that they know that has a community that they know that could be great clients for you, or directly could be an amazing client. So you're going to write that list of people. Then in the next column over, you're going to rank those people on a scale of 1 to 10 on how likely they are to help you. So let's say your mom has a best friend that would be the perfect client for you. Well, it's your mom. So hopefully you have a good relationship with your mom, and she would be a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 on how likely she is to help you, right? But maybe it's someone you just met on Clubhouse and you haven't spoken to them that many times and they're not that likely to help you. So I would say, they would be like a 3 or a 4. So then you move over to the next column and you rank that same person on a scale of 1 to 10 on how influential they are. So not how many Facebook friends they have or Instagram followers, how influential are they in getting you what you want? So if your mom's best friend is an ideal client for you, I would say she's pretty influential in getting that
connection for you to be a client, right? But maybe, she kind of knows somebody and has spoken to them a couple of times. Maybe she's not that influential. So that would be like a 3 or a 4 or a 5. So then you're going to take the 2 scores for each person. You're going to add them up, and in the last column, you're going to have a grand total score for each person on your list. Then you're going to sort those people in order from highest to lowest. This means the people with the highest scores, the easiest people to contact, the people that are most likely to help you and the most influential are at the top, and the people with the lower scores are at the bottom. Then what you're going to do is you're going to reach out to 1 person per day for 20 days. Now, the people at the top of the list, these people are easy to contact because they're likely to help you. They have high scores, right? So that's easy. You just reach out and you ask. You just do the ask. I know it'll be uncomfortable, but we got to do uncomfortable things sometimes, and we just have to ask. Now, when you get down to the lower scores, the people lower on the list, instead of asking, because you don't know these people that well, you don't have a great relationship with them, they're lower scores on how likely they are to help you, you're going to do one thing to provide value for that person to start to build a relationship. So think about what you can do to help that person without even asking them what they need. Right? That could be writing a review on their podcast and screenshotting it and sharing it with them. It could be connecting them with somebody. It could be sending them a really thoughtful gift. What can you do to add value to that person? So if you reach out to these people, 1 person per day, and you work that list, I absolutely guarantee you, and this is for everybody on this call, that you will be able to get whatever it is that you want. It works in our business every single time. It works every time we teach it to someone. So there you go. That's the top 20.
Really
Amazing. Hey, so
real quick, I just want to say, Fatumata, add your Instagram to your profile so people can reach out to you.
Okay, I have it there.
all right. So just before we do anything else, I just want to, we're at the top of the hour again. It is now 10 a.m. Eastern. This is Breakfast with Champions. I'm Michael Cirillo. I want to just express my gratitude to all of you that have been following me and following all of our moderators. If you have not yet done so, go through those images up here on the stage with the little green asterisk beside their name and click that follow button and follow them around Clubhouse, because they are just giving so much value. I'm so honored that 1,200 of you chose to spend this hour with me crying and doing some crazy stuff. I know there are some people on stage. Chris, thanks so much for helping me mod some of these questions, but I do want to, in respect of time, I want to just sign off and say, thank you, Glenn, turn it back to you. I'm off to the dentist, and back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cirillo. That was a powerful hour. This has been a powerful morning here on Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club. Your opportunity to get a seat at the table. This is amazing. I am so incredibly thankful. The conversations, talking about legacies, talking about pouring into our children, talking about growing our businesses. Dude, I just took a cold shower. And it's, I'm just going to be honest with you. I did not like it at all, but I just took a cold shower after listening to Brian earlier and just talking about, mastering our minds, becoming masters of our bodies, and all of the opportunities that are out there when we really think big and we really start to write those I am statements, right? I am powerful. I am capable. I am, right? Those powerful I am statements. Man, it has been such incredible conversation. And I just want to take this back just a second, and then I'm going to let you all out of here. I want to take this back just a second because this is day 10. We've done this only for 10 days. And there were 1,600 people together changing the way we start their day. I'm in the event space. I've thrown events. 1,600 people in a room is a big deal. It is a big deal. And when you get 1,600 people in a room, I just got to tell you, the power that is in this room, the energy that is in this room, the possibilities that are in this room. I want you to look at your own individual profile picture right now. Look at your own individual profile pic. If you're on a treadmill or you're running, or if you're driving, don't. If you're driving, don't. But if you're not driving, right, I want you to look at your profile pic, and I want you to look at the person right above you. Look at the person to your left, look at the person to your right, look at the person below you. Follow those people. Follow the one above you, to the left, to the right, and to below, because I can guarantee you they were not put next to you by chance. None of it is by chance. It was by destiny. Every single thing. Think about every single thing that had to happen to put you in this room at this moment with these people. If you felt anything this morning, if there was anything you felt that you went, I feel that. I feel that in my soul. That resonates with me. That's your trigger. That's the tell. That's the universe saying you are in the right place at the right time. You are at the table with champions, and it is exactly where you belong. I know on this app we see a stage and we see an audience, but in reality there's just 13 or 1,200, however many people are in here right now. It's just all of us at a table. All of us at a table together, united. In Africa they call it Ubuntu. I am because you are. And as we continue to grow together, share stories together, as we continue to level up together, as we continue to clear new paths, as we do those things together, as we continue to rise with intention and purpose, as we continue to evolve, as we continue to go out there and make an impact on this planet, it is such a gift to know that we are not in it alone. No, we get to do it together. Thank you so much for spending this time with me this morning. If you click on my profile, scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see a Breakfast with Champions logo. That's our club here on Clubhouse. We would love for you to join the club. We would love for you to spend more time with us. We're 10 days in. We're only 10 days in. I can't even imagine what this is going to continue to grow to as long as you keep coming back. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you sharing this space and time with me. These moderators, a lot of them have been here for 5 hours. The joint venture expert's been here for 5 hours. William's been here for 5 hours. Gunny's been here for 5 hours. Kavan and Steven and Tanner and Sarah and Cirillo, Fireman, they've been here for 5 hours. The rundown, Francesca, who I got to meet this morning, she's been here for 5 hours, man. 5 hours of time dedicated to Breakfast with Champions. I am so incredibly grateful. Thank you so much for this. I don't want anyone to walk away empty-handed. If you haven't already, make sure you go to themorning5.com, download your free ebook. Talks about morning routines, how we pour into mind, body, and spirit. I'm so thankful for you. Scott Simons, thank you for kicking us off the right way this morning. Man, couldn't have done it without you. You're amazing. All of you, love you guys so much. Have an incredible day. We'll be back Monday to do it all over again. Breakfast with Champions, 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Go have an incredible day. And I am. Just walk around today. Anybody says anything to you, I just want you to be like, I am great. I am amazing. I am a child of God, the God of the universe, the God that made everything. And that God has given me the ability and the responsibility to go out and make an impact on this planet. And that's what I'm going to do with the greatness that exists inside of me. Let's go. Let's go.
Have a great day, guys.
I want to say one thing as a fireman. I want to say I am powerful, and we all are powerful here together. Let's continue winning, guys. I love you. Good morning. Great breakfast. Let's go.
Thank you, fireman.
Thank you.
I love you, my man.
Love you too, brother. Let's go.